What if the key to lasting love isn't about finding the right person, but seeing through yourself first? This video uncovers 3 profound psychological secrets from Carl Jung that can revolutionize how you experience love and relationships forever. In this video, we'll explore how Jung's teachings reveal deeper ways to build trust, communicate authentically, and love consciously. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and give this video a like. In the comments, write the phrase, "Love begins with understanding," and let us know where in the world you're watching from. Number 1. The language of emotional honesty. Have you ever felt like you're saying everything, but still not being understood? That kind of silence can feel louder than any argument. When you care deeply about someone, it's frustrating when your words don't connect. Sometimes love doesn't end because of what's said, but because of what isn't. Emotional honesty is not just about speaking. It's about revealing what's beneath your surface, and yet most of us are never taught how to do that. You might wonder, how do I express my truth without hurting the other person? Or even, how do I access my truth when I'm afraid of what I'll find? These are not easy questions, but they matter because love without truth becomes a performance, not a connection. Think about a moment when you chose to stay silent instead of speaking your mind. Maybe you didn't want to cause conflict. Maybe you were afraid of being judged or misunderstood. That silence might have seemed small, but over time it builds distance. Emotional honesty asks for courage. It asks you to risk being seen. But it also offers something priceless in return: real intimacy. Imagine what could change if you shared not just what happened in your day, but how it made you feel. Imagine if your partner did the same. What would that do for your connection? When Carl Jung explored the psyche, he believed that self-awareness was key to inner peace. But awareness isn't just something you achieve alone in silence. It's something that deepens when you try to explain your inner world to another person. In love, this becomes especially important. You might be tempted to only show your best parts, the parts you think will be loved. But what if the real strength of love lies in sharing what's difficult, confusing, or unfinished? What if being vulnerable was the most powerful thing you could do? Many people believe that love is about finding the right words, but more often it's about learning how to be silent with someone and still feel heard. That only happens when you show up as yourself, not just as who you think you should be. Jung's ideas teach us that what we hide controls us. So when you hide your feelings, those unspoken emotions shape your relationship from the shadows. They can lead to resentment, disconnection, even loneliness. But when you speak your truth, even gently, you begin to shape your connection with honesty. Maybe you've noticed moments when something felt wrong but you couldn't explain why. A tone, a glance, a hesitation. Your heart knew something was off, but you brushed it aside. This is why emotional honesty isn't just about speaking. It's also about listening. Listening to yourself and listening to your partner without immediately reacting. When you pause and say, "I feel like something's bothering you. Do you want to talk about it?" you open a door. That door might lead to a hard conversation, but it also might lead to healing. You might wonder, is it really worth the discomfort to speak openly? Especially when things feel calm on the surface. The answer is yes, because calm doesn't always mean safe. Sometimes it means avoidance, and avoidance over time builds walls. Emotional honesty tears those walls down. It creates a space where both people feel seen, not just tolerated. Where disagreements aren't threats but opportunities to grow. Where silence doesn't mean disconnection, but comfort. Think of a time when someone really listened to you, not just nodded but heard you. How did that feel? Did you feel lighter, validated? That feeling is the result of emotional honesty meeting emotional presence. And you can create that with your partner too. But it takes practice. It takes daily choices to speak instead of shutting down, to be curious instead of defensive, to share even when you're unsure how the other person will react. Of course, this kind of openness isn't always easy. Maybe you grew up in a home where expressing feelings was discouraged. Or maybe past relationships taught you that honesty leads to conflict. If that's the case, be gentle with yourself. This is a skill you can build one step at a time. Start with small truths. "I felt hurt when you didn't call back. I get nervous when we argue. I want to feel closer to you." These may seem like simple sentences, but they carry deep meaning. In love, small moments often matter more than big declarations. It's not just the grand gestures that build connection. It's the daily check-ins, the thoughtful questions, the willingness to say, "This is hard for me to talk about, but I want to try." That kind of vulnerability can be uncomfortable, but it also builds trust. Over time, it creates a space where both of you can bring your full selves, flaws, fears, and all. You don't have to be perfect to be emotionally honest. You just have to be present. That means slowing down and really noticing what you feel before reacting. Ask yourself, am I speaking from fear or from love? Am I trying to protect myself or connect? These simple questions can transform how you show up. And when you change how you show up, you often change how the other person responds. Let's say your partner forgets something important. An anniversary, a promise, a conversation. Your first instinct might be to shut down or lash out. But what if you said, "When that happened, I felt invisible. I want to feel important to you." That kind of truth is powerful. It invites understanding, not blame. And it gives your partner a chance to really see you. To respond from care, not defense. Emotional honesty also means being honest with yourself. Are you showing up authentically in your relationship, or are you performing a role? Are you saying "I'm fine" when you're actually hurting? The more you learn to name your real experience, the more freedom you create. And in that freedom, love can breathe. You don't have to agree on everything, but you do have to be real. This kind of communication builds a different kind of love. One that's not based on fantasy or control, but on choice. You choose each other even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And that choice, rooted in honesty, becomes stronger over time. When you know you can be yourself and still be loved, everything changes. You stop hiding. You start growing. Carl Jung often emphasized the importance of bringing unconscious patterns into consciousness. In relationships, this means becoming aware of how you communicate or fail to. It means asking, what am I really feeling right now, and what am I afraid will happen if I say this out loud? The answers to those questions can be uncomfortable, but they are essential. They help you break cycles and build deeper trust. Have you ever noticed that arguments repeat themselves? The topic might change, but the emotion underneath feels the same. That's a sign that something deeper is trying to be expressed. Emotional honesty helps you get to the root. Instead of saying, "You never listen," try saying, "I feel unimportant when you ignore my opinions." It shifts the conversation from blame to vulnerability. Vulnerability doesn't mean weakness. It means you're strong enough to show up without armor. And in a relationship, that kind of strength creates safety. It invites the other person to do the same, to drop their guard, to connect from the heart. And when both people feel safe enough to be real, love becomes a place of transformation. You may not get it right every time. That's okay. Emotional honesty is a practice, not a performance. What matters is your intention to understand and be understood. To speak not just to be right, but to be real. Over time, your efforts will be felt. Your partner will notice. And even if the words are clumsy at first, the honesty behind them will shine through. There will be moments when honesty feels like a risk. But ask yourself, is it riskier to speak the truth or to live in quiet disconnection? Silence might feel safer in the short term, but it builds walls that love can't pass through. Speaking up gently and clearly is the first step to tearing those walls down. It's how love grows deeper roots. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be willing to explore. Ask your partner what honesty looks like to them. Share what it means to you. Create agreements together. Maybe you both agree to pause when conversations get heated and return when you're ready. Maybe you agree to name your feelings, even if they're messy. These small choices build emotional clarity. With time, emotional honesty becomes a language of love. It's the way you say, "I care enough to tell you the truth." It's how you show that love isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about showing up even when things aren't. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. It stops being scary. It starts being home. By now, you may be reflecting on your own relationships. Where could more honesty create more closeness? Where have you been holding back and why? These questions aren't meant to shame you. They're invitations. Invitations to begin speaking in a new way, one that brings more light into your connection. And when you do, something changes. You begin to see your partner differently. Not as someone who must meet every need or avoid every flaw, but as someone who's also learning just like you. Emotional honesty reminds you that love is not about perfection, it's about presence, and presence begins with truth. As we explore further, keep in mind that love doesn't just reflect what you say, it mirrors what you see. Number 2, the mirror principle, learning through relationship. Have you ever noticed how the people closest to you often bring out the most intense parts of you? Sometimes it feels like they awaken your deepest fears, your oldest wounds, or your most hidden needs. That's not a coincidence. Love doesn't just comfort you, it challenges you. It reflects back to you who you really are, not just who you pretend to be. In relationships, what you feel about the other person often reveals something about yourself, and if you're willing to look, that reflection can lead to growth you never imagined. Think about the last time your partner did something that upset you. Maybe they arrived late, forgot something important, or didn't respond the way you expected. You might have felt disappointed, hurt, or even angry. But beneath that surface reaction, what was really going on? Were you reminded of a past experience where you felt forgotten? Did it trigger a fear of not being valued? The mirror principle teaches that your emotional reactions are rarely just about the present. They often reflect your inner story. It's easy to blame the other person, to say if they were different, I'd feel better. But what if the discomfort you feel isn't a sign that something's wrong with them, but that something inside you is asking to be understood? This doesn't mean you ignore bad behavior or stay in unhealthy dynamics, but it does mean you approach conflict with curiosity, not just criticism. You ask, what part of me is reacting right now? What does this feeling remind me of? These questions open up space for insight. Carl Jung believed that relationships are powerful mirrors for personal transformation. When you're close to someone, they become a reflection of your inner landscape. They show you where you feel confident and where you feel insecure. They reveal the parts of you that are whole and the parts still searching for healing. And through this process you grow, not by trying to fix the other person, but by learning from what they awaken in you. Imagine you're in a conversation and your partner suddenly withdraws. You feel rejected, but instead of assuming the worst, you pause. You ask yourself, why is this silence so painful for me? Maybe you grew up in a home where silence meant punishment. Maybe you associate distance with abandonment. By recognizing this, you separate your past from your present. You respond with awareness, not just reaction. You might even say when you go quiet, it brings up old fears. Can we talk about what's going on? That small shift changes everything. The mirror principle also invites you to notice how you project your own needs and fears onto your partner. Have you ever assumed they were thinking something about you without actually asking? Maybe you thought they were judging you, or losing interest, or feeling disappointed. Those assumptions often say more about your inner dialogue than about their intentions. And unless you check those assumptions, they become barriers to real connection. You might ask, but what if my partner really is doing something hurtful? That's a valid question. The mirror principle doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you stay grounded in your own experience while addressing the issue. You say, when this happens, I feel this way, instead of, you always do this. That subtle change keeps the conversation open. It invites collaboration, not defensiveness. Have you ever been surprised by how deeply someone's words affected you? A small comment, a certain look, it stayed with you all day. That's a mirror. It shows you where you're still sensitive, still uncertain, still healing. Instead of brushing it off, lean in. Ask, what's the deeper story here? Maybe it's about worthiness. Maybe it's about fear. Whatever it is, naming it gives you power. And power in this case means the ability to choose how you respond. The beauty of this principle is that it empowers you. You stop waiting for the other person to change. You stop needing them to behave a certain way to feel okay. Instead, you take responsibility for your inner world. And in doing so, you bring more calm, clarity, and compassion to the relationship. That doesn't just change you, it changes the dynamic. When you begin to understand what your emotions are trying to tell you, they become guides rather than enemies. Anger shows where your boundaries are. Sadness shows where you've lost connection. Fear shows where you need safety. Joy shows where you feel aligned. All of these emotions are mirrors, and when you stop judging them and start learning from them, your relationship becomes a place of discovery. You might be wondering, does this mean my partner is my teacher? In many ways, yes, but not in the sense that they're always right or wiser than you. They're your teacher, because they help you see yourself more clearly. They reflect back what you often can't see alone. And when both of you embrace this mindset, your relationship becomes a mutual path of learning and evolving. Have you ever repeated the same argument over and over? Different details, same emotions. That's a mirror too. It shows you a pattern, something unresolved within you. Maybe it's the need to feel respected, to be heard, to feel secure. When you recognize the pattern, you can interrupt it. You can ask for what you need more directly. You can shift from blame to clarity. Let's say your partner seems distant lately, and you feel anxious. Before reacting, you pause and ask yourself, where have I felt this before? Maybe you realize it reminds you of a parent who was emotionally unavailable. That awareness changes the story. It doesn't erase your feelings, but it adds context. And context gives you choices. You can communicate differently. You can soothe yourself without demanding something from the other person they may not understand. This principle also invites humility, because just as your partner reflects your inner world, you reflect theirs. That means your actions affect them too. Your tone, your silence, your reactions, they all carry meaning. By recognizing that, you create a space of mutual care. You start asking not just what do I need, but also what are they feeling? This balance deepens empathy. You don't have to be perfect to create this kind of relationship. You just have to be willing to notice, to pause before reacting, to reflect before accusing, to share your truth with gentleness. These are simple practices, but they can transform how you relate. And with time, they become habits. Habits that build trust, intimacy, and emotional depth. Carl Jung often said that what you resist not only persists but grows stronger. In relationships, what you avoid talking about often becomes the very thing that drives you apart. The mirror principle encourages you to face these reflections, not fear them. To see conflict not as something to avoid, but as something to understand. When you do, you move from surviving love to thriving in it. Think of your relationship as a canvas. Every emotion, every reaction, every silence adds a stroke. If you ignore the patterns, the picture becomes chaotic. But if you learn to read the strokes, to understand what each one means, you begin to paint something beautiful, something intentional, something whole. This doesn't mean love is always calm or easy. There will be misunderstandings, hurts, and challenges. But with the mirror principle, those moments become invitations to grow. Not just as a couple, but as individuals. You begin to say, thank you for showing me that part of myself. I didn't see it before. And in that gratitude, even the hardest moments become meaningful. At its heart, this principle is about self-awareness. The more you understand your inner world, the more gracefully you can move through your relationship. You stop expecting your partner to complete you, fix you, or save you. You begin to see them as someone walking beside you, reflecting your light and your shadows. And that, more than anything, creates closeness. So the next time something triggers you in your relationship, pause, breathe, ask what it's showing you. And remember, the mirror isn't your enemy, it's your invitation. An invitation to see, to feel, to learn, and to love more deeply. Let that awareness guide you. Let it lead you into something even more powerful. Number 3, wholeness over perfection, loving without idealizing. Have you ever found yourself waiting for the perfect person to come along? Someone who says all the right things, understands you without effort, and never makes mistakes. Many of us carry this dream, often without realizing it. But real love doesn't thrive on perfection. It grows in the soil of wholeness. That means seeing someone fully, with their strengths and their flaws, and choosing to love them anyway. It means letting go of the fantasy and embracing what's real, raw, and deeply human. In a world filled with curated images and perfect stories, it's easy to start believing that love should be effortless, that if it's hard, it must be wrong. But the truth is, love challenges you. It reveals your edges. It invites you to accept not only the imperfections of your partner, but your own. And that kind of acceptance builds something far stronger than any fantasy. It builds trust. Carl Jung believed that real transformation comes from integrating all parts of yourself, not just the parts you like. The same idea applies in love. When you only accept the good and reject the difficult, you miss the depth of connection that comes from full acceptance. Think about someone you admire deeply. Chances are you admire them not because they're perfect, but because they're real, because they've faced struggles, admitted mistakes, and kept growing. Love isn't about finding someone who never hurts you. It's about finding someone who's willing to understand the hurt, repair the damage, and grow alongside you. That process starts when you stop trying to mold the other person into an ideal and start seeing them as they are. It means asking yourself, can I sit with their flaws without trying to change them? And can I allow myself to be seen fully without pretending to be more than I am? Maybe you've been in a relationship where you thought, if only they were more affectionate, or if only they communicated better. While wanting growth is natural, expecting perfection creates distance. It turns love into a list of requirements instead of a space of discovery. Instead, try asking, can we grow into this together? That shift from demand to dialogue changes everything. When you idealize someone, you place them on a pedestal. But the higher the pedestal, the longer the fall. Eventually, reality shows up. They disappoint you. They make a mistake. And if your love was built on an image, not a person, that moment shatters everything. But when love is rooted in wholeness, those moments don't break you, they deepen your understanding. Have you ever hidden a part of yourself in a relationship because you were afraid it wouldn't be accepted? Maybe it was a fear, a past failure, or a need you thought was too much. That fear of not being loved as you are can make you shrink. But real love invites expansion, not hiding. When you feel safe enough to show every part of yourself, even the messy parts, you begin to feel truly loved. It's the same with your partner. When they show you their pain, their doubt, their struggle, those are the moments to lean in, not pull away. To say, I see you and I'm still here. That kind of love doesn't erase flaws. It embraces them. It doesn't demand perfection. It celebrates presence. And presence, more than anything, is what makes love last. This doesn't mean you ignore harmful behavior or never set boundaries. Wholeness is not the same as tolerating everything. It means holding both love and truth at the same time. Saying I love you and this needs to change. Saying I care and this isn't okay. That balance is what keeps love both honest and kind. Sometimes the hardest part is accepting your own imperfections. Maybe you feel you have to always be strong, or always be cheerful, or always be put together. But that pressure builds walls. And love can't reach through walls. When you allow yourself to be seen, really seen, you invite the kind of connection that doesn't fade when life gets hard. You invite the kind of love that grows deeper with time. Ask yourself, what part of me do I hide in love? Is it your fear of being too much? Your past mistakes? Your need for reassurance? Whatever it is, naming it is the first step to healing it. And sharing it with your partner creates space for vulnerability, for closeness, for truth. Have you ever been moved by someone sharing something real with you? Maybe they told you about a difficult moment in their life, or admitted they were afraid. That moment likely brought you closer, not further apart, because vulnerability builds connection. When you stop performing and start revealing, you create a bond that's not based on who you're trying to be, but who you really are. Jung's perspective reminds us that we are all a mix of light and shadow, strength and struggle. In relationships, the goal isn't to become flawless, it's to become more whole. That means acknowledging your limits, learning from your mistakes, and choosing to show up again and again. That kind of commitment, rooted in reality, creates a foundation that can withstand anything. You might wonder, but what if my flaws are too much? The truth is, we all have parts we wish were different. But love isn't about finding someone who overlooks them. It's about finding someone who accepts them. And even more, someone who invites you to accept them too. Not as a weakness, but as part of your humanity. This also means learning to sit with discomfort. Sometimes love brings up old wounds. Maybe your partner's actions remind you of past hurts. Maybe being seen so clearly feels terrifying. That discomfort isn't a sign that love is wrong. It's a sign that love is doing its real work, helping you grow, helping you come home to yourself. Wholeness is quiet. It doesn't need to prove or impress. It just is. And in that stillness, love can breathe. Love can listen. Love can stay. When you stop chasing an ideal, you start noticing what's already here. You see the beauty in the everyday, the warmth in small gestures, the miracle of being understood, even when you're not perfect. Ask your partner what they feel afraid to show you. Share the same with them. Create a space where both of you can bring your whole selves, fear, hope, pain, and all. That space becomes sacred, it becomes a place of healing. And over time, it becomes stronger than anything built on fantasy. In the end, love isn't about fixing each other. It's about seeing each other clearly and choosing to stay. It's about finding meaning in the mess, beauty in the flaws, connection in the chaos. That kind of love doesn't fade with time. It deepens, it matures, it transforms. So the next time you find yourself wishing your partner were more this or less that, pause, breathe, look again, ask what's really important here, and ask, am I loving them for who they are or who I want them to be? That simple shift can open your heart in ways you never expected. You don't need perfect love. You need real love. A love that laughs, cries, struggles, and shows up anyway. A love that says, I see all of you and I still choose you. That's the love that lasts. That's the love worth building. And that's the love you deserve to give and receive. Final thoughts. Real love starts with you. If you've made it this far, it means you're ready to build deeper, more meaningful love, rooted not in perfection but in truth, presence, and acceptance. Remember, the real keys to love aren't hidden in someone else, they're within you. By choosing emotional honesty, learning through reflection, and embracing wholeness, you create space for a love that grows and heals. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. If this message spoke to your heart, let us know in the comments by writing, I made it to the end, real love is worth it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell so you never miss new insights that support your relationships.